Oh no, welcome to Grandad's allotment. It's the 14th of August today, and I'm just going to show you what having a month off the allotment looks like. I've just checked my videos. The last video I did on the allotment was the 12th of June. So it's 2 months since I've done a vlog on the allotment. I have done a couple of other vlogs when I was on my holiday. You know, some of the gardens I toured then. That was last month. But I've not been on the allotment doing very much for well over a month, and you know, I've maybe popped once a week to water the tomatoes, and that's it. But yeah, I'll show you what's going on and what a month off looks like. Not good. But first I'm gonna make myself a cuppa. Right, I'm just gonna get into here, knock the kettle on again. Shouldn't take long, because it's time for a cup of tea. That'll do. Right, let's let that master a bit before we put the milk in, because it's always tea first, then milk. Right, let's show you in here while we're here. Tomatoes, they're not done brilliant. Any of my tomatoes, they're up there, you know, but for actual having tomatoes on them, not brilliant. I've not really fed them. I've watered them maybe once a week. You can see by this one, the bindweeds coming through and taking over where the tomato should be. So that's bindweed, so I'll get all that up today. We'll have a walk in the garden. I'll show you what it's like, and then show you what I'm going to do today. Right. As you can see, the weeds, everything needs trimming. All the planters are full of weeds, and for some reason I've got brambles starting to spread right around the plot, so they're going to have to come out. I did trim this the other day, so it's not quite as bad as what it was, but I only had 2 batteries with a trimmer. This is roses, going to have to be trimmed. This is a Japanese wineberry, which is all fruiting at the minute, so I'm going to get some fruit off that today, because it's loaded, absolutely loaded with fruit. And I'll train these ones up onto the fence, because they're next year's fruiters. Right, let's get under here. Flower bed, dahlias are not doing too bad. Coming up, plenty on there, plenty to come. These are weeds, which I'll get pulled out, and then there's weeds in between. There is cornflowers in there as well. But yeah, just a massive weeds. Believe it or not, that's a strawberry bed full of nettles. The roses, they've got a lot of new growth, as you can see, but a lot of deadheading needs to be done. The loganberries have fruited and now gone over, so that can be trained back. Comfrey, this is probably the 3rd harvest, so that'll come out, go into a barrel. Yeah, loganberries and the tayberries further along. Tayberries have just not had any. I've just missed the boat. There's maybe the one there. That's probably gone over. Oh, got one. And the arm. Oh, really sweet. A few tomatoes here, which I can start and harvest, but again, the weeds and bindweed is coming up amongst them. These are just, I think they're the currant varieties. Let's have a look. Can't see it, it's disappeared, but I think these were Argentinian wild currants, which are tiny, sort of grape size, even smaller than grape size tomatoes, but they're sort of scramblers. And do taste nice. So tomatoes. This is borage, white borage. Again, it's just for to attract the bees and pollinators. Yeah, so the loganberry and tayberry all needs to be sorted out and trained a little bit. These beds had my onions in. I pulled them up the other day and took them home. Not a bad harvest, to be honest. The shallots that was in this bed did nothing. This was all my peas in here and onions. Again, I pulled up, got rid. So them beds are clear. I'm probably just going to give them a quick tickle over and cover them with cardboard. This is desperate for pruning. Should have been summer prune probably back in June. This is the damson. Can't see any on it, to be honest. I think they've all probably dropped. The apple tree, Spartan apple, not too bad. Still got quite a few on. There's not many dropped. I don't know if you can see in there, but there's a cherry tree. Again, these need to be about no more than sort of 7 foot high, height of the fence anyway. So they all need a summer prune. Same with this apple tree. Getting black currants coming through over the top there. So I'll pick some of them, but that needs cutting back. Gooseberries have been and gone. Missed the boat. There was 2 pairs on that, and I've taken them home when I came the other day. Otherwise the rats will get them. In here, absolute nightmare. You can see it's just a jungle. I don't probably be able to see for the sun, but I pulled a lot of this back yesterday because it was just overgrown with bindweed coming up on the inside from underneath. I've just not had a chance to get into it. I pulled a load of cucumbers off this the other day. These are the white round ones. If there's any more on. Pulled a load off the other day, 5 or 6. Tomatoes. Again, there's tomatoes on, but they're not ripening. Probably because, you know, the sun's not getting to them. So I might have a bit of a pull of some leaves off there today. Figs. Got loads of figs on, and it keeps coming, but they're just dropping off. They're not ripening. Again, tomatoes in with nettles. Yeah. The figs there. These are brown turkey figs, but I never get them to ripen. If anybody's got any advice, you know, on getting these to ripen, that'll be much appreciated. Right, I mean, you can see that's in my propagator house, and it's got blackberries running through it. You know, where they come from. My potting bench is slowly getting taken over by tomatoes. It's just desperate. There's Winston. See, hello, Winston. Again, all the paths need stripping. This is just some stuff I've been bringing from home. I've been working in the garden mainly for the last month, so I haven't not been gardening. Been doing lots in my garden at home, so this is all the grass cuttings and stuff. This will just fill up my brassica bed for next year. There is still some things growing. There's a few beetroot in there. Again, it was covered in bindweed. I just pulled through it with my hands the other day. Black currants. Probably past it now, but needs a good prune back. Just leave them for the birds now. This bit in here, again, the beans, the chochas are coming on. They're a chocha, so that's doing all right. A couple of squashes in there. little tromboncino. There's some down there, you can see turnips. Again, these were tomatoes, bush variety tomatoes. I've just gone wild basically. More comfrey. I don't know how it's getting here. Birds have probably carried the seeds, but yeah. So that's it. Just show you the other greenhouse. So yeah, as expected, the grapes have taken over again. I'm really don't know what to do with this. I mean, we're getting grapes, you know, it's not a problem. Yeah. Oh, nice. But it just blocks out all the light. And no matter, I mean, you can go in every day and pull these off. I mean, that's, you know, a couple of weeks worth of growth, you know, 3 or 4 foot. You just kind of keep on top of it. So I might take this out or just have the one along the bottom, because I've got the outdoor one now, which will be in its 2nd year, so I'll probably get grapes on it next year. But yeah, I mean, the poor tomatoes aren't doing anything. So right, so I'm going to sit in the sun for a little bit first and ponder what I'm going to do first. It's about 12 o'clock now. Like you see, on the 14th of August, it's absolutely red hot. Car said it was 28 degrees when I got out. I would have been here a little bit earlier, but I had to wait for someone coming to the house to do some work. It's probably going to be the hottest part of the day. Not a great time to work in. I would have rather been here at like 6 o'clock in the morning when it was a bit cooler. But I'm going to have a cup of tea, a bite to eat, and have a think about what to do. I honestly thought this year would be a much easier year because I've changed my job and I'm at home a lot more. I work shifts, so I get days off during the week, and I don't start, you know, sometimes till 1:30 in the afternoon, and then get finished at 1 o'clock the next day. So my idea was to come in the morning before I go to work, or in the afternoon after I get to work, but it just doesn't happen. And I've only got 1 day off this week, and that's today. So yeah, I need to get as much as I can done today. So I think I'll probably start by strimming again as much as I can, tidy up the Logan berries and tape berries and the Japanese wine berries, get them tied up as much as I can and trim back. I'm not going to start the greenhouse today. It's too hot to be working in that greenhouse. I need to get outside done and tidied. I might just clear all of the beds and get ready for put some cardboard on. I've got some cardboard at home to bring up. But yeah, I'm going to crack on, eat my salad in a jar, and I'll see you in a bit. Right, I've decided I'm going to do the strimming first, so let's crack on with that. Right, I've done most of it. These bits here are brambles, and here are brambles, so I'm just going to get my secateurs and cut them out, and then I'm going to go up along the middle of the paths. But I'll come back to you with that. See you in a bit. Right, I've been cracking on a little bit, so I'll show you a bit of progress. I don't know if you can see for the light, but everything's been trimmed back the rows, tied in the New Year's growth of this. So I'm going to cut all these off shortly, just before I go and pick them, because I'm not going to get any more, but it's easier to pick them off in bunches. So I've trained the new growth in this direction, because all the old growth will die back, and I'll cut that back once we're finished. Pruned up the rows, taking all the old growth off the Logan berries and tear berries, and again this new growth is what I'll tie in to go that way, and new growth again on the Logan berries to go that way. Trimmed all the paths around here, filled up the compost bin, sorted the grapes a little bit. There is some bunches of grapes on, so first year they've grown grapes. It's about 2 years since I put this one in, but like I say, I'm probably going to keep this one and get rid of half of the one in the greenhouse. Still a nettle there, get that later. I've thinned out a little bit. You can see there is some tomatoes in there. They should start ripening up now. Pulled a couple of turnips there, not too bad. Thinned out all of the blackcurrant, so anything coming towards us is gone, keeping mostly the new shoots for next year. I wanted to espalier across that way and across that way, so I'll see what comes of fruit, and I might take a few more out. You can actually see the beetroot. Again, everything's trimmed along here. Thinned out in here. If you can see any grapes in there. But yeah, I want this to go right over eventually. There are a few tromboncinos growing there. Thinned out everything on the paths. This is my next target. Gonna take some of that growth out, so I'll set yous up. Right, I'll stop it there and I'll do a bit of pause and record. Right, that's it, thinned right out. Looks a bit drastic, but it needed it. I've taken everything out the centre to make it more goblet shaped. Everything that was pointing inwards is gone out. So apples and cherries next. Let's crack on. Right, show you where I'm at. So again, cherry tree has been drastically cut back, but I've espaliered it. Apple tree cut back. What you need to do with the apple trees is cut all this year's shoots off, because that's the spur there is where the apples will come from. You see, so you need those spurs for the next year's fruit. So cherry tree, I've tied it in, thinned it right out, so there's nothing in the middle. So we'll have a couple of forks going off that way and a couple of forks going off that way. It's just unfortunate it's split and it's got one in the middle, but if I keep that clear, it should be all right. Again, I've done this apple tree. There is a bit of fruit on it, not much, but I think that was because it wasn't thinned out enough. But never mind. I've cleared it out so I can get to these blackberries now, so if I might collect some today If not, the birds will get them, and then I'll cut it out. Right, I'm going to grab a cuppa, but you can see what I've done with the trees. If you can see for the light, thinned it right out. There's Winston. He's been sitting in the shed in the sun, in the shade. You alright, Winnie? Right, cuppa. Right, just sitting up in another cuppa. I'm gonna harvest some of my wine berries, Japanese wine berries. I've had a canny day on the plot today. Done quite a bit tidying up. Pleased with what I've done. I'm going to sit and have a cup of tea and do some of my wine berries. Now, these are Japanese wine berries. They're growing clusters. I guess cross between a raspberry and a blackberry. They're quite prolific, grow well in the UK. That plant that's there was in my garden at home and was quite big, and I cut it right down and transplanted it here when I changed things in the garden. Trouble with harvesting them is, let's say they're growing clusters, but they're quite sticky when you come to harvest them. Just tiny little things, but they're quite sticky, got like a sap on them, and they don't store very well. So you've got to pick them and eat them more or less the same day unless you freeze them. I've frozen them before and done jams and stuff, so I'll tend to cut them off in a bunch and then sit and pick them into a pot. They come off fairly easy. You will waste some because there's some not ripe there, but it's quicker and easier to do that than it is to stand and pick them. So I've got a tub full which I'm going to sit and go through while I'm drinking my tea, and I'll come back and show you where I've got them at. Right, I've almost finished my tea. I've got 2 punnets of wine berries. I'll just show you how they come off. I'm nearly finished. So they come in clusters like this, and like I said, that let me do this, take me down a bit. That incredibly sticky, so you just have to roll them off between your fingers. If they're ripe, they'll come out dead easy. Just roll them into the tub. They do get quite a bit of stuff stuck to them, you know, like bits of seeds with fur and stuff, you know, blown in the wind. So what I tend to do, I'll pick them like this and then rinse them off at home. Same as what you would do with blackberries and stuff like that, really. You would rinse them just to make sure there's no creepy crawlies and stuff in them. But yeah, they just roll off in between your fingers. Couple more bunches left. They are prickly, but they're just like, you can manage them, you know what I mean? Dropping half of these, yeah. Last bunch. Done that one. That's it. All done. You can see how sticky they are because they don't, you know, they hardly move. So that's 2 punnets of wine berries. That's the first fruit I've had this year. Like I said, in a minute I'll move the camera up again. said that Jayberries and the Loganberries, birds have got them. They went over. I've cleared all them back out now, showed you before. So this is the first real fruit I've had this year. Loads of grapes, they're still to come. I'm not worried about that, but I'm going to thin them out. So I'm going to finish my cup of tea. I've got a couple of punnets here. I'm going to collect some blackberries and then I'll get a head off home. Catch you in a bit. Right, there you go. Not a bad harvest today. 6 punnets of blackberries, 2 punnets of Japanese wineberries and a couple of turnips. So not a bad little crop today. Right, it's 5:30. I've got here at about 12 o'clock, so I'm done for today. I've got a canny harvest of blackcurrants and wineberries, so that'll do for my breakfasts for the rest of the week. So I'm going to sign off here and I'll catch you on the next one. See you in a bit.